I've always lived in very beautiful houses, large windows, modern kitchen, parking, security. But one day I had to ask myself this question: can I actually afford to build this life for myself? And the answer was shocking. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you're new here, we make content around money, random money conversation, and here is to another money conversation. So cheers, grab your tea and let's have this money conversation. I think we've all been in that space where when you're looking for a new house or when you're house hunting, you look for spacious kitchen, you look for natural bright light, you're looking for security and convenience to the nearest shopping center, you're looking for a place where your kids can play if you have kids, you're looking for reliable water and light, okay? Because subconsciously, guys, since we started having house tours and dream apartments, we've seen people show us this is how the houses should be, okay? So you subconsciously, when you're going to look for a house because of what has been continuously been pushed to you, you think that is normal. So now we can see how people are able to live different from ourselves, okay? This has also led for a very silent comparison. So when you're seated in your own house, you feel like your house is not enough, and you start thinking, I should look for a house. I need a house that has more light. I need a house that has a parking, regardless even if you don't have a car, okay? You start looking at, I think I need a house with a rooftop. I want to be able to go on the rooftop and chill. You barely leave your house. I told you guys, do not neglect the power of subconscious mind. It keeps picking what you've been seeing, which influencers you follow, the people you follow, you allow in your FYP. It sort of determines how you want to live your life, guys, okay? Which is not, it can be a positive, it can actually be very positive, and it can also be very negative, depending on how now, if it gives you a silent comparison and now you start feeling like what you have is not okay, because people have pushed this narrative of big windows, a dream apartment, where you live, which side of town you live. The developers have also taken advantage to actually capitalize on it. So now we are seeing, what we are seeing currently is a rise in the housing market with a very little to give. So they will give you a big window with no kitchen. Look at 5 years ago, we didn't have issues with house rent. So you find like a one bedroom that was going for 15,000 or 20,000, it's going between 27 to 35,000. A two bedroom that was going for between 20 to 30,000, now it's going between 45 to 60,000. A two bedroom. The problem is not even how, for me it was, the question was, Julia, you're looking for these beautiful spaces, these rental beautiful spaces to live in, which is a very good thing, okay? But there was something that happened that clicked on me. The numbers were not making sense. So when I sit down to put the numbers on the paper, or to just think about it, can I afford to build the same house that I've been looking for? Okay? So that was a humbling experience and a very uncomfortable thing for me. If you live in a 3-bedroom house, can you be able to build a 3-bedroom house? That for me was a very uncomfortable realization. Because every house I've loved, I could not afford to build it. I was actually thinking about it this way. I was like someone who wanted to hire a Mercedes-Benz to drive around than to buy a Honda Fit. Like I was willing to spend money to hire, to look like I belong to a certain class, than to actually get money to buy a Honda Fit that really belongs to me. That's how I kept feeling when I wanted these beautiful houses, because they don't belong to me at the end of the day. Yeah, so I want to live in a beautiful apartment. I want to live in a that has all these amenities. It's like I'm renting a Mercedes. So on the outside, I'm looking like I'm living the life. But is it really mine? Because if you ask me, can you afford to build this house can you afford to build this house that you want to rent? I cannot. That's not my house. Why do you keep sorting out very expensive, beautiful spaces, but they do not belong to you? These are rented out spaces. You've also seen the sharp increase in renovating rented spaces. And let me, guys, I know people are going to come for me like I don't care, that I will not live in a bad space. This is not for everybody. These are for people who come to that realization. This thing that does not belong to me, but I keep wanting the same thing of something that does not belong to me. Because when it comes to now having to put the numbers on the paper and having to come up with, can I build the same house that I've been sorting out? Can I be able to build that house in the area that I want to rent? It might be not possible, or it might take you a very long time. Okay, guys, the prices of the rent are increasing. That's number one. The salaries are barely moving for most people. The developers have taken advantage and are shrinking the spaces and increasing the prices. So now there's a huge gap between what we see and what we can actually afford for ourselves. So now I had to come to a decision. When I looked at the housing market and I looked at how I was also being influenced into wanting beautiful spaces that do not belong to me, if I choose to build my house, I might not be able to build the same house that have been renting for the longest time. Okay, I also came to the realization that my progress might be slower, because you see, when you look at how much money you will be required to build your own house, it is a lot of money. And because you are not going to build overnight, it means you're going to have to build and rent a house and rent another house. Okay, I also had to come with it. I had also to come to the realization that for me to be able to achieve one of that goal is for me to also downsize, because you see, now I was attracted to beautiful spaces, which I am still attracted to beautiful spaces, but there's a sacrifice that comes when you want something that belongs to you, and especially if you want to own that thing without acquiring any credit. Okay, you want to do it slowly, progressively. It means then when you have to cash flow such a project, it means then it will take a longer period of time. So that means for me, I cannot be able to rent a very expensive space and also be able to cash flow building a house. That was a decision, having seen what is happening with the developer. There's a time we never used to have open kitchens, open plan kitchen. Now it's saturated in the market. So it means every year there's something new that the developer is thinking about to get as much money for as little space as they can. We as human beings who are not created to live in such spaces, such limited spaces. So you imagine if you're working from home and you have to work from your house in the 11th floor or the 18th floor, and then now you have to go down on the ground floor, and that is where the gym is. Okay, and then next to the gym there's a coffee shop next to the gym, and then there's a swimming pool. So it's basically you have been imprisoned by your own money. Like, the money that you are making is putting you in a prison, because when are you ever gonna touch the grass? Literally, like, when are you ever gonna be outside where you're breathing fresh air? Because you're not in this complex where they're doing until, I don't know, 24th floor. If we continue following trends, and if we continue being sold this lie of year in, year out, that we need to have beautiful spaces, guys, let me ask you something. For someone who has left university, and now their first apartment cost them between 27 to 30,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Not even like the most modern 1-bedroom apartment, just the basic 1-bedroom apartment. They are told to pay between 27 to 30,000. If your starting salary is between 50 and 60,000, are you ever going to close the margin where you're able to acquire anything for yourself? I don't think so. Yeah, because you see, every year the housing market is increasing. I might be paid to show you my apartment so that you think how I live is how everybody should be able to live. The assumption is you think people show off their houses and do their house tour because they want you to see what? Basically, there are people who are paid to do this. You know, people have come up with way. You see, long time ago, people used to use the normal marketing, like, I am selling this for 100 shillings, basically. Okay, now there's a very sneaky marketing strategy where I will go around this cup, and this tea, and make sure that at the end of the day I am still selling this tea, but not in a way that you realize that I'm selling to you this tea. So now you see people having this dream apartment that costs you between 50 to 60,000. This is not to say, guys, that we are not going to rent houses. We are going to rent houses. But I feel like we also have to come to awaken to the fact that Do you think if you continue with this momentum where your salary has remained or it's increasing at 5%, but the housing rent is increasing by 15%, the frustration, let me tell you guys, there's a silent frustration of someone having to, when is today? Today is the 2nd. So assuming people have been paid end of April, okay? You've gotten your salary at the end of April. But you see, before the 10th of April, or the 10th of May, you don't have an income and you're not even a spender. You've basically just afforded your basic needs. But you see, inside the basic need, there are hidden costs, like so much house rent for you to just live a comfortable life, to have a dignified life, a normal life where you have water in your house, you have a toilet in your house, you have a roof over your head. So that's what I'm saying, because marketing is very aggressive. You also have to question yourself every time you want to upgrade your house or you want to move to a better location. You ask yourself, if you continue doing this in the next 10 years or in the next 15, 20 years, are you going to be able to close the gap where you're comfortable to change a job, comfortable to build a house, comfortable to do something with your money apart from paying the basic need? That's not everybody wants to own a house and not everybody wants to build a house. But even when you're renting, I feel like you need to be cognizant to the fact that, are you renting because you want to rent this house, or is because you keep feeling like you need to rent this particular house because of what you've seen? That's what I'm saying. Just be aware every day. Is it something that you really want for yourself, or this is something that has been marketed? So now you go to sleep subconsciously thinking, I need a bigger space. I need a house that has lift. I need a house that has a swimming pool. Let me tell you, even if you go around, guys, in the complexes that have swimming pool and they have gym and they have, I don't know what, barely or hardly do people even go and use those facilities. But you see now, most people even ended up in those complex or those apartments because they thought they wanted a complex with a gym, because if they have the gym now they will work out, or they wanted swimming pool because their kids will use the swimming pool. But hardly do you even see your child using the swimming pool in the complex. That's what I'm saying. The marketing strategies are not as they used to be. So now, every now and then, when you see this my dream apartment, my house tour, guys, come see my new apartment, guys, come and see my new house, you have to be aware so that your money works for you, or the money that you work so hard for go into other people's pocket because of the influence, or because people have brought you closer, or people have opened up their houses. So now you see how people are living. Okay, the culture of people going to the supermarket and buying so many things was not there before, until we started having this culture of people showing the restocks. That's now subconsciously, now even you want to go to the supermarket and do the same thing. Subconsciously you've been sold that as the norm. So now even you, when you go to the supermarket and you're not able to fill in your cart, you feel like something is not happening for you. Let me tell you guys, I'm an advocate of mental health, and one of the things, the reason why I talk about money so much is not so much about the money, is the effect of the money on so many people's mental health. Someone sits down and think they are not doing enough. They feel like they are not they are not progressing. They feel like they are behind. You ask them why, and mostly they do not know the answers, or the most common answer is because you are comparing yourself to someone else. You're comparing how you're living, or you've seen someone move from a 1-bedroom, now they go to a 2-bedroom, and they say, guys, I have the keys to my dream apartment. So now you subconsciously think you're not doing well. You cannot afford to move to the dream apartment, guys. That's a lie. To move to the dream apartment, to buy your dream car, to build a dream house, you end up feeling like you're lagging behind. So most mental health are caused by the silent comparison. Don't underestimate the ability of your subconscious mind to run your life to the ground. Yeah, because what you see during the day plays out at night. Now you wake up feeling so left behind, and you're not left behind, guys. If you're in your 20s to your late 20s, early 20s, late 20s, or early 20s, mid 30s, there's a possibility you're not able to afford a house that costs 65,000. What is wrong with that? honestly, what is wrong with you living in a house that costs 17,000-18,000? Because that's the income that you're able to get, or probably you want to save the difference. But now, how will it be possible for anyone to put money aside if you continue keeping up with the trends of new modern houses, open plan kitchen, closed? Now we're heading back to the closed. You see, we are going back to now closed kitchen, because now the trend has worn off. We are heading back to now, it's like a cycle. So now, if you play into this cycle, this cycle that of new trends, of things coming and going, you might not be able to get yourself out of this situation. I told myself something had, for me to change, something had to change, because new houses will be, new developers will come up year in and year out. New houses will come year in and year out, but they don't belong to me. They are not my houses. They belong to someone else. And to temporarily live in those houses is okay, but if you keep following, if you keep doing this over and over and over again, you find like you that's why you feel like you're not able to do anything with your income. So some things require some sacrifices, and just be able to catch yourself in that moment of, no, I cannot continuously do this, okay? But there has to come to a place where you fall back to reality of, I want to be seen driving a Mercedes Benz. I want to be seen living in a certain complex apartment. But can I afford that apartment? And I'm not saying afford. When I say afford, I don't mean your month in month income, that I get paid 100,000, I pay my rent 40,000. That's not affording. That's barely surviving. Because tomorrow, if I don't have an income of 100,000 and I end up getting a salary, or I end up going to work where I'm paid 50,000, you see, now I cannot afford the 40,000 house. So it means I have to go down and get another 20,000 house. That's what I'm saying. So if you keep renting a lifestyle that you cannot afford or sustain, yeah, you will always feel behind. Okay, so guys, comment below what you think about the housing market, and how much is a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom where you live. Okay, so that let's share here, because I feel like if we don't all come to a place where we all agree that this is insanity to live in one room where there's barely a kitchen or a space to breathe, is not a normal thing to do. Okay, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.